ladies, and I am so glad you joined me, or if you're watching this later, I'm so glad you found the video. So if you're watching, you're probably doing the adventure quilt, a road trip quilt along that Kate Colleran of Seems Like a Dream and I, Tammy Silvers of Tamarini's, are hosting for you. So week 2 is here, and we are working on the Milemarker block. Now, the Milemarker block, in case you haven't made it yet, or if you haven't downloaded your pattern, it's this block right here. Now, you may know it by another name, but we're calling it the Milemarker block. And why are we calling it that? Well, when you're on a trip, what are you doing? You're excited. You're counting off the miles, watching those mile markers fly by, right? And you can tell as you get closer and closer to your destination. So, mile marker block. So we're going to step over to my cutting table, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for working with 2 of the elements inside the mile marker block, the half square triangle and the 4 patch. So let's head over to my cutting table. Half square triangle. It's usually 2 colors. It's what makes it a half square triangle. Half of the square is one color triangle. The other half is another color. Now, how do you approach it? Well, again, a lot of different ways. We are suggesting that you match up 2 squares, right sides together. Now, I know I'm working with batiks and it's kind of hard to tell that, but trust me, these are right sides together. Now, one thing that you can do is use a ruler, and I recommend a Choco marker, and place your ruler corner of one of your squares and use your Choco marker to draw a line. Now then you can take it over to the sewing machine and you'll sew a 1/4 inch on this side of the line and a 1/4 inch on this side of the line. Get in nice and close. Okay. All right. Your other option is to use that same. Once you have done that, once you've sewn, your block is going to look like this. You're going to have your 2 sewn lines, and you're going to cut down the center. When you cut down the center, you're going to end up with 2 half square triangles, and you're going to press them. Now, just like any other block, you're going to end up with a square that looks like this. And you're going to notice it's a little bigger than what you need. No big deal. That's on purpose because that gives you the opportunity to use your favorite ruler, whatever it may be. No big surprise. Those of you that know I'm a Studio 180 certified instructor. I love the Tucker trimmer. So I'm going to use my Tucker trimmer to trim my block down. But you could also use any other square ruler. Now, if you're not familiar with this, what you're going to do is you're going to lay your ruler so that your 45-degree line is on your seam line. And then you're going to use your rotary cutter and you're going to cut up and across, and then you're going to turn the block around and you're going to put the correct size that you need. I'm going to pretend that my correct size is 3.5 that I need, and I'm going to cut up and around. What I'm going to end up with will be a perfect half square triangle. No wonky lines, no crooked seams. The block is perfect and just like I need it to be. So that's the benefit of making it a little bit bigger and then trimming it down. So, half square triangles. You've got an opportunity to practice those because you're going to be making 3 mile marker blocks, and each block has half square triangles in it. Now, the other thing that your mile marker block has in it are 4 patch units. And I know you're probably thinking, well, that's pretty much a basic unit. And it is. It's got 4 patches, 2 different colors. But here's the thing I wanted to show you. When you make your 4 patch and you match up your center seams and you get down to finishing your block, what a lot of people do is they press the seam to one side, and you certainly have that option of pressing the seam to one side. But what I want to show you is when you press the seam to one side, it's going to create some bulk. So if you want to reduce that bulk, one of the things that you can do is before you press it, you can use your seam ripper and remove these first little stitches right here. See if I can point them out for you. So I would remove these stitches right here on this side, and then I would flip it over and I would remove the stitches on this side. Now when I do that, then what that allows me to do is open that seam up. So you see how now I have a tiny little 4 patch on that side. So I would press this, then I would turn it over, and I would press again so that when it's finished, here's one that's already pressed nice and flat for you. See how flat that block is laying? And if you were here to see it in person when I turned it over, you could push down in that center and you would actually say, oh my gosh, that block is so flat. Your seam would be so flat and so smooth. So these are just a couple of quick tricks to help you have the best success with your Milemarker block. Now, Kate and I are hoping that you're going to come back next week and find out what block 3 is going to be. So remember to check out Kate's blog on Wednesday. Seems like a dream. Check out Kate's blog, and she's going to be revealing block 3 and tell you where to go to download it. Until then, happy stitching.